let's talk about Donald Trump and the race-baiting lefty media, who are always keen to spread division where there should be unity and hatred instead of love, so long, of course, as their hatred is directed at one Donald J. Trump. Now, of all the low, dishonest charges thrown at Trump, currently recuperating from a bout of coronavirus at the Walter Reed Medical Center, where we just saw that footage just now, is the idea that he refuses to condemn white supremacy. The latest iteration of this indictment is based on something that happened last week at the first presidential debate with Joe Biden. Have a look.
Are you willing tonight to condemn white supremacists and militia groups and to say that they need to stand down and not add to the violence in a number of these cities, as we saw in Kenosha and as we've seen in Portland?
Sure,
are you
I'm
prepared
willing to do
specifically?
That. I'm willing to do anything. I want to see peace.
Then do it, sir.
Say it. Do it. Say it. Do you want to call them? What do you want to call them? Give me a name. Give me a
white
name.
Supremacists and
who would
white
you like me to condemn?
White supremacists and right
Proud
militia.
Boys, stand back and stand by. But I'll tell you what. Somebody's got to do something about Antifa and the left, because this is not a right-wing problem. This is a left-wing.
So is Trump willing to condemn white supremacists? Listen to what he said. Of course he was. It was Joe Biden who confused the issue, surprise, by invoking the Proud Boys, whose chairman is actually, despite all the talk of them being a white supremacist group, Afro-Cuban. But never mind all that. What did the local press here in Australia make of all of this? Have a listen to all of this.
That was scary. His refusal to condemn white supremacy was equally scary. Trump is a very frightening leader, very frightening.
Speaking of not giving answers, how problematic is it that Trump refused to denounce white supremacy?
The most shocking and major news line that came out of that discussion was Donald Trump being given an opportunity to disavow himself and his campaign from white supremacist and militia groups. He very clearly did not do that.
The thing is that this kind of incomprehensible and appalling behaviour has happened time after time and over again, and it never seems to make a difference to Donald Trump. Why would it this time?
And it wasn't just them. Over on Twitter, Jonathan Green had this to say. This was the politics of the Trump right in action. The only strategy is destructive tension, he tweeted, and saying that Trump intended to destabilize the process, undermine faith in the outcome, and call out the squadristi to intimidate. City Morning Herald columnist and former Race Discrimination Commissioner Tim Supremacy also tweeted, not sure what's more alarming, that Trump would express this kind of sympathy for white supremacists, or that most commentators, including in the U.S., it seems, have so far just shrugged their shoulders. A sign, Supremacy said, of how hatred and extremism have sadly been normalized. And so on and so forth. Yet, for those who choose to actually pay attention, Donald Trump actually has a long record of condemning white supremacy. Have a look at this.
Do you want white supremacists to vote for you?
No, I don't at all. Not at all.
His campaign is denouncing a show of support from the KKK's official newspaper, as in the Ku Klux Klan.
In the same New York Times interview, he denounced white supremacists. He denounced the neo-Nazis who support him.
Racism is evil, and those who cause violence in its name are criminals and thugs, including the KKK, neo-Nazis, white supremacists. And you had people, and I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally. I spoke out forcefully against hatred, bigotry, and violence, and strongly condemned the neo-Nazis, the white supremacists, and the KKK.
So the idea that Trump is out there sending dog whistles to white supremacists and neo-Nazi supporters is, of course, nonsense. We saw it right there. And race is, of course, a horribly divisive issue in America right now at this particular moment. But despite what we keep hearing, it is the left, not the right, that is responsible for stirring up this division and hatred. The last 4 months have seen American cities torn apart by violence in the name, supposedly, of ending racial inequality. And these calls have come from the left, not the right. Perhaps the media should go ask some questions of Joe Biden, who once talked about those who displayed the Confederate flag, for example, as very fine people.
Not granting a federal charter to a organization made up of many fine people who continue to display the Confederate flag.
Well, they could, but yeah, nah, that wouldn't fit the narrative.